Almost all of Albania's electricity depends on one river, the Drin, as it cascades through a series of dams and power plants. And almost everything in Albania runs on electricity. So when changing rain and snowfall change river flows, the country's affected almost immediately.
We haven't had power cuts recently, but when we do, they're a problem, whether you're in school or at home, trying to cook or to stay warm. We need to be able to go home and have power.
Businesses suffer too. Even 15-minute power cuts at this hotel were enough to drive its restaurant clients away. And water isn't just for power generation. Farmers need to irrigate crops. Albania is struggling to meet demands for energy as it tries to cope with competing water uses and changing weather patterns. Increasing variability, warmer temperatures, changing rain and snowfall, and more extremes such as droughts, floods, and heat waves. Patterns that could also mean a lot less water by century's end, and up to 15% less power from the Drin. The Albanian government is adding power plants that do not depend so heavily on water, and planning for wind farms and more solar power.
We had to think long-term and address the energy as a contributor to climate change. Albania being part of the region where climate changes are predicted to be obvious, we had to be careful and think how to reduce the carbon emission through energy production.
The country is also taking steps to adapt now. The national power company is keeping reservoirs topped up because they generate more efficiently that way. It sells power when there's lots of water and buys it when there isn't. The government is making it easier for dozens of small hydropower plants that rely on streams and rivers to operate. And it's urging farmers to use drip irrigation and plant native crop varieties. The World Bank has been working with those whose livelihoods and lives depend on the availability of electricity to adapt to changing weather patterns that include the possibility of much less water.
A couple of the things that they've come up with, simple things that we can think about very soon, are improved weather forecasting, some steps to further diversify the supply of energy to households and businesses here, also techniques to adapt the functioning of those assets to the changing climate, and as well energy efficiency, which is extremely important.
Albania has ways to better manage the effects of climate change today and to cope with even more extremes in weather in the future.